Hey everybody, it's Steve with Sky194 and appreciate you taking the time out of your day to stop in and visit and check out my video. And today is going to be hopefully a quick video. This is going to be something that I was supposed to come out with probably within the last couple days. But just between, I can make all kinds of excuses, but I just couldn't get it done. It wasn't to what I wanted. I have been pretty busy, so it's just kind of everything happening. So just basically a lot of reasons, but I finally get it done, and I wanted to redo the Ferrari EVO here at Donington and Monza to kind of update the setup. I mean, it's not a huge difference. It is, but it isn't. So I guess I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth. But again, we'll just go over the setup. I'm not going to show a lap in either one. I'm just going to go over the setup, and then I'll leave a link to the setups in the description. So please, if you like this, I don't mind doing this once in a while. I'll kind of show if it's something worth. I don't mind showing a lap or to talk about it, a certain corner or whatever. But I really don't think there's anything really new. So I don't figured why waste your all's time, and we'll just get to the meat. Don't worry about the peas and potatoes. So here we go. We got 24/7 left front, 25/8 left rear, 26/1 right front, and 26/4 right rear. The toe is a 0.12 on the front, with the camber at -3.5, the caster at 12.2, and on the rear, the toe is a -0.14 with the camber at -3. So I don't know if you've noticed, but something is different from any setup I've done, and it's right here, the toe in the front. So I'm just going to touch on this a little bit, and I have a race coming up here, another video coming up where I really noticed it first in trying to do the setup for that, getting ready for a competition server race, and I really noticed what it did there. So I kind of had to come back to this and then start doing some more adjusting on this, doing it with the toe, adjusting it a different way. And what I have found out so far, and I still want to do more testing, so I'm still trying to get a handle on how much and what affects, and then how much to put in and things like that. So it's still kind of new, but I'm basically putting a positive toe on the front. I've never done that before ever on anything, but just like the rear, I never used to put a negative toe on it either. But it seems to be liking it. My tire temperatures have come down, especially this one, like the one that's getting loaded on the whatever left front, right front, whichever. I've noticed a drop in my temperatures. I've noticed the car turns better. So like if you have a car, let's say if you got some good downforce to it, well then you got to jack the car up to get it to rotate and turn. Well, you don't have to do that as bad if you got some positive toe, because the front will go ahead and help you turn. So it's another tuning tool that I can help as far as putting some positive toe in to help the front end bite and to turn, just like the rear. Pretty much in a nutshell, this is very just broad, but it just seems no matter front or rear, the more you take out, the more you take down from positive. So let's say the more I take out of this into the negative, the more it wants to understeer, or the same with this. And the more negative I put, the more the rear end wants to stay put, and not rotate. Where let's say I wanted to go the other way, it would help the car rotate. It would make the rear end want to rotate. This is the same as far as that goes. This is basically the more negative toe I put in it, the more it wants to understeer. The more you get to turn in, but also it wants to understeer some. So you got to crank more in it for it to turn. Where you put the positive toe in, it seems the car wants to turn better. Through the corner, maybe not initially, but through the corner, like the middle off. So I'm still, again, and the thing I'm looking at mainly is tire wear and tire temperatures, because you know how it is. at these tracks where you're looking at the left front and or whatever, right front, and you got all this temperature, cooking the tire and things like that. My temperatures have come down from like turning yellow, which I had a question about that. How do you get the you got both sides. Like the Huracan the other day when I was racing this last week, and I had, they were yellow, which isn't that bad, but, how can you bring that down a little bit? That might be a thing to look at, is doing some with the alignment with the toe, and it might help bring that down instead of opening ducts, which that might help too, but the problem with that is the flip side of that argument is then it cools them down, the brakes down too much, and then when you come into a corner, your brakes are cold. So you don't want that, can be too much. You want the brakes to stay some heat, so when you come in the next corner, they bite the way they're supposed to bite. So again, it is all, you got to look at the goods and the bads. So again, I'm still trying to find more of things of how it likes, and of course I want to try this on all my other cars, trying to see how they work. But so far, I'm really liking how it's reacting and how it's helping the tire, especially the one that gets the most abuse. So again, I would definitely, going forward, you're going to see that a lot in the newer setups. Again, like I said, I am never satisfied. I'm always looking for ways to make the car drive better and get performance, and basically have the cake and eat it too type of thing. I'm trying to always get both. Sometimes it's a sacrifice a little either way, but I'm always trying to keep some kind of balance to that. So again, let's move on. Electronics, I got 4 and 4 and 4. Again, you can turn it down to 3, but I just got it, and of course the map's on 1, so it is on, monster mode as far as the Ferrari goes. Of course, I had 55 liters, which I did run it at 80 plus, so again, it's fine. Mechanical, got 28 on the roll bar, 51 on the brake bias, steering's all the way down. Springs are the same as it was on the other setup. Front's 138,600. The bump stop rates are completely different. 500 on the front and a 10 bump stop range. And on the rear, the springs are 120,000 with a bump stop rate of 400 and a bump stop range of 24. That's another thing. I've seen the bump stops are dramatic. It just seems like the cars now, since the update, are dramatically overreactive on the bump stop. So you got to really tone them down, turn them, calm them down, things like that, because if they hit a bump, you hit a sausage, it really upsets the car. So no matter what you do with the shocks, so you really got to tune more, tone them down more, things like that. So it's almost like a complete reset when it comes to the bump stop rates and ranges. They're definitely more dramatic. So I'm still going through that and trying to find happy mediums and a balance. But anyway, those have dramatically changed from the other setup. Any roll bars 5 and the preload is 180. That's been changed some too. So has the any roll bar. Again, I went through the shocks with Motec, and they have been tweaked again to get them to line up with the current setup. I got 5, 9, 3, 4 on the front and 2, 3, 5, 6 on the rear. Aero, I got 60 front and 60 rear with a max 14 wing and a 4 and a 4 and a brake ducts. It had max wing before, so again, that's I'm sure that you could probably dial it down to maybe a 12 or something like that if you really wanted to, drive the car and probably be all right. You might gain some more performance, but again, I'm trying to just go off of the other setup and basically just, even though it's a lot of new stuff in here, I still want something that you really can attack, and you can with this setup. You can attack the corners, you can attack the brake zones and things like that, and not have to worry about the back end coming around on you. So again, this was a quick, trying to be as quick as I can with this. That's why I'm not doing any of the showing the laps and stuff like that. And again, I will leave a link to these setups in the description. So that concludes this. Now let's go ahead and we'll go over the Monza setup. Alrighty, well, that was interesting, trying some different things, and I'm sure there's still a lot more on the table. But like I said, had to go through this a few times. It was something new I wanted to try. So again, I think it's really balanced really well. Again, it's really top speed down the front straightaways like 169, so that's right there with everything else. And 163 down the back straightaway, solid. Those are solid. I mean, almost ready to go to the 160, 170, 164, so they're really solid there. And it's balanced for a low downforce setup. I mean, you're always going to have some kind of compromises. So again, it's definitely you have to drive it. You can't. It's but the more you let the car do the work instead of like really being aggressive with it, the better you are. And that's just the way it is since it's a low downforce type of thing. So let's go over the setup. Let's see here. There we go. We got 25.4 left front, 25.8 left rear, 26.7 right front, 26.6 right rear. The toe is 0.06 on the front, with the camber at negative 3.6 on the left front, negative 3.4 on the right front. Caster's 13. The toe on the rear is negative 0.1, with the camber at negative 2.9 on the left rear and negative 2.8 on the right rear. Again, still messing with this toe, trying to see what certain tracks might like. I don't want to go too much because then it ends up causing some other issues. So basically, this is what I settled with. Electronics are 4, 4, 1, and 4. So again, added, I think from the other setup that I added one click of TC. Ferrari has a very good TC. Of course, they got 1 and 2. So why not use it? And this thing on map 1 is such a monster that you can easily lose so much time by the car jumping sideways and things like that. So basically just gives you a little bit more of a parachute. So I think it's okay. I've tested it with 50 liters and 80 liters both ways. So I mean, number one brake pad, so either way you want to go. Basically running the same times I was with the other setup, just more tuned in since the update. Running basically lower 49s to mid 49s with a race fuel load. Any roll bar is 30. Brake bias is 52. You can go down to 51, but I'd probably wait a little while to do that. Springs on the front are 138,600 with a bump stop rate of 500 and a bump stop range of 10. And again, like I explained in the other with Donington, it's since the update, the bump stop rate and ranges and things like that just seems like the bump stops are a little bit more hypersensitive than they used to be. So you really got to watch it because driving it with the other setup, it hit the bumps like solid, like I had no suspension. So, and it upset the car all over the place. So I had to redo all that. Springs in the rear are 127,000 with a bump stop rate of 400 and a bump stop range of 36. Any roll bar is 5 and the preload on the diff is 160. So again, just lots of little tweaks here and there. Shocks on the left front is 5, 4, 5, 6, and on the right front it's 5, 4, 4, 5. On the left rear it's 3, 1, 9, 7, and on the right rear it's 1, 1, 9, 7. So again, all different, and I'm going off of Motec. And again, it changes things when you change springs or bump stop rates and things like that. So basically, just going readjusting everything to try to get it all back to where it's working together again. Aero got 61 front and rear with a 2 rear wing and a 3 and a 3 in the brake ducts, and the front aero variation is a 2.2 to the positive. So again, I call this a low downforce setup. It's pretty aggressive. You do not want to drive it into the corners really hard. Just, brake good and then let the car roll through there and get back on the gas as soon as you can. You can get on the gas, mid corner and get a good drive if you see that you're going right where you want to go. It'll be fine, but you don't want to be driving in and trying to really be hard on the brakes, going like in a parabolica, the last corner. You don't want to be sitting there diving in on the brakes really hard and trail braking all the way in there. Now, if you want to trail brake you a little bit, you can, but just slightly. But you don't want to be in there, really on the brakes hard and things like that because you don't have that much wing to hold the rear of the car down. So again, you got great speed though. Like I said, 169, which is right there, and that's with the race fuel load. So if this rotates too fast, it's really pretty setup friendly. All you got to do is increase the wing. That's really everything. Everything else is pretty good. I would probably leave everything else alone. All you got to do is, let's say you get in there and it just rotates too much for you. The back end's too happy. Just go up one click at a time. That's all I would do. And see it drop to 1.8, and you go up another click, it's 1.4. So I mean, you shouldn't. It should be. I've ran it all the way up to 4 or 5 on the wing, and it still seems good. It does slow down some, but it takes a step of being more driver friendly every time. So every time you increase the wing, it's a little bit easier to control, a little bit easier to change directions, and all those braking. You can be a little bit more aggressive on the braking when you have the more wing in it. But I mean, you do run probably maybe a couple tenths, 2 or 3 tenths slower. So again, it just depends on how hard you want to work and hang on and your abilities and all those kinds of things. So, but if it doesn't work, like I said, you don't have to go through and change everything in the whole setup. All you have to do is just keep adding a click of wing until you find it to where it works for you. And I think it should be good. And I sure hope that you give me a thumbs up and subscribe. And of course, more stuff will be coming. And of course, I got the races and things like that. Some competition races that'll be coming. And I sure hope you come back and check those out. And I hope you, again, the links to these setups will be in the description also. And any feedback or comments are great. I love talking to all my sim racing friends. And you all take care, and we'll see you the next time. Bye.